Swedish prosecutors have charged two men, Salwan Momika and Salwan Najem, with inciting ethnic hatred due to several Qur'an-burning protests in 2023, which provoked significant backlash in Muslim countries. The charges stem from 4 incidents during the summer of 2023 when the men burned the Lily Qur'an and made derogatory remarks about Muslims, including an incident outside the Stockholm mosque. According to media reports, the prosecutors stated that the men's actions were intended to show contempt for Muslims based on their faith and emphasized the importance of having these actions evaluated in court under the laws against incitement of hatred toward ethnic or national groups. The Qur'an-burning protests led to strained relations between Sweden and several Middle Eastern countries. In response to the heightened tensions and threats, Sweden's intelligence agency Sapo raised the country's threat level, making it as a prioritized target. The changes against Momika and Najem follow a series of similar legal actions against the prosecution of far right-wing activist Rasmus Paludan and a 2023 conviction of another individual for 2020 Qur'an burning. While Swedish law sometimes protests such actions under free speech, the context and accompanying statements can lead to charges of inciting hatred as seen in these recent cases. To discuss this further, we have with us the director of FreeMuslim Association, Mujtaba Akhwand. Assalamu alaikum, Mujtaba. What are the legal implications of freedom of speech versus inciting hatred in Sweden, specifically in the context of burning the Holy Qur'an?
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for having me in your news show. In response to the question about incitement of hatred in Sweden or implementation of the law, we have to take it into 3 folds, and I'll make it as brief as possible. In Western countries, there is something called defamation laws. Defamation is if someone is famous or in their community or known to a particular thing, expertise, and somebody comes and defames that, there is a particular punishment, monetary as far as money goes, or there are other ways of claiming that fame back again, that it's not being considered within this law. What I mean is, right now, the 2 people that are being judged upon, and there is sentences for them, those 2 people, yes, the Swedish law says that they're inciting hatred towards minorities. Based on that, they are judging them or pursuing them. But what the Swedish government is not considering is the fact that they have defamed religion of Islam. So we're not seeing this as a religious perspective, we're seeing this as a human rights and a humanitarian perspective. On a humanitarian level, the Swedish government is not considering that they are defaming Muslims, millions of Muslims, just by allowing these people to have that freedom of speech, and there is no claiming back of that fame. So what I need to ask you as an audience is to look up defaming laws and to become more educated. What is it that people can request from the Swedish government or any other government? Because when the Quran burning happened in Sweden, the same thing happened in Belgium, in Germany, in some, unfortunately, some Muslim countries, the same thing happened. So Sweden, yes, may have prosecuted these individuals on the level of hatred towards minorities, but there is no judgment against them for defaming Islam as a religion, defaming Muslims, reducing their value within the society, and those things need to be considered. Muslims and other minorities of different faith, they coexist extremely well with each other when it comes to in the East, in the West, in Far East, Far West. They have no problem coexisting with other people. But when the laws of the countries who are hosting them as immigrants or as people who have lived in those countries for hundreds of years, and we have history of Muslims being in the West for hundreds of years, when the laws do not support them, that's where the problem is. So defamation law is something that needs to be considered. 2 is restoring the value that Muslims have or the minorities had within these countries is something that needs to be considered.